Hello everyone and welcome. Thank you so much for becoming a member, Random SS. Yeah, this trip here will train 6-4 over the mountain to Wall. It's the afternoon express, and as you can see by the light, it is still daylight. And by the time I was done with the safety checks and stuff like that on the train, it had already gone dark. So at the day this was recorded, we had about 6 hours and 30 minutes of daylight. The sun was getting up about 8:30, and it went down under the horizon at 3:30 p.m. So yeah, it's basically just dark all the time we drive these days, and we are losing about 4 minutes of daylight each day until December 21st, when then of course we start to turn back to summer and we will be gaining a couple of minutes a day, and then that will increase fast and vastly when we get to kind of March, April. I saw a question here on whether I have to drive trains in the holidays as well. And the answer to that is yes. If my roster or shift plan says that I'm supposed to drive trains on that day, chances are that I have to do that. The thing is that we do run kind of a limited service on Christmas Eve and around Christmas and stuff like that on the important days. So if you have a short day or something, or you run the earliest trains in the morning, chances are that you will get the day off. But except for that, well, we have to get people home for Christmas. So we show up for work and we take you home for Christmas. When a question here about which day is the busiest, I would say the busiest day is probably a couple of days before Christmas and a couple of days after Christmas. People tend to want to get home by Christmas Eve, so they travel around 22nd, 23rd, so that they're basically home by the 24th. And then people start traveling home again on the day after Christmas Day, so on the 26th. That's those days are the typical days where trains are usually packed. Adamnachela? No, we're still closed between Vaksdal and Bergen, and the reason for this is that they are now working on connecting the new tunnel to the main network. So they, for the past couple of years, they have been working on a new tunnel, which is drilled by a tunnel boring machine, also called a TBM. And they have been working on that for 2 years, and they closed the line on November 11th to connect it to the main network and do all the changes to the safety systems and do a lot of testing before they do passenger service on the system. I think the freight trains are running through the new tunnel right now, but they are running through the tunnel on reduced speed and stuff like that. So they are basically running trains through a construction area. So on December 13th, when we start a new timetable, and we have become separate entity from the V company. Yeah, that means that we are our own franchise from December 13th. That means that we will be running through the new tunnel, and at the moment the tunnel will have a maximum speed of 160 kilometers per hour. Hello, Agent Katie. Athenor, welcome. You're looking for signal information? I do have a link. If you just browse down in the description under each video, you will find a link to signal information, which will give you kind of a basic understanding in how the signaling work. I know that the next year I am probably going to post more videos of how the signaling system work and how to interpret signals. That also means that I have to kind of cut back on trips like this, so I might not be posting trips like this each week, but go to every second week and do more of technical videos on other weeks. So hopefully that will turn out really good and give a more diverse content on my channel. Happy chicks? Maybe. We'll see. Hey there, Mr. Smokehouse from Minnesota. UK Templar Knight. Here in Norway, our system right now is that you have to apply for the Railway Academy, which is a one-year education, and then you have to be hired by a company afterwards, and they will finalize your training in that company. So depending on what company you start working for, your training might last from everything from 3 to 6 months, so 1.5 years to, and all the way sometimes also 2 years before you are running your own schedule as an independent driver out on the network for the company that hired you. So since you're from the UK, I guess you are pretty knowledgeable of how you guys have been running your railways for the past 20 years. And here in Norway, for some strange reason, the conservative government opted to adopt the British railway model. So each line is now its own franchise, and we have now a lot of companies running on the rails, and yeah, with kind of the chaos that brings to us. But the company I work for used to be the company called NSB, or Norwegian State Rail, so we are doing our best to keep everything afloat. Trucker 78747 Mats, how long have I been driving trains? It's been over 10 years now, and I really still enjoy it. It's kind of funny. For the past 5 years, I have been driving the same line. It has been either Voss-Bergen or Voss to Ål, or sometimes Ål to Oslo and back. And we also do have the Flum Railway. But even though you're running the same line every day, you don't see the same things every day, and every day is kind of different. So yeah, I still love my job, and it's something new to see out there every day. It's different lights, different conditions, different people. Yeah, it's an ever-changing moment, even though you are running on the same line. So yeah, I know it's kind of weird, but I love it. It's cool. Holy cow, Shroy boy, thank you so much for the super chat. And yes, it will definitely go into the RAID storage system that I'm trying to save up for, because editing straight off of the SSDs that I use to record these videos, it's a pain in the bum. And a question from McBenman1. Have you ever used a turntable at all? No, sadly, I have not used a turntable at all, and I'm not sure if it's even functioning at the moment, but I would just love to try one of those turntables. And a question from Ortidaman. You are asking if the L18 will become green. Right now, there are no plans of repainting the L18. I know that Go Ahead has repainted one or two of their engines. I know that engine number 2258 has now the new Go Ahead livery. But when it comes to our engines, I don't think they're going to repaint them because of the slogan on the side of the train, and the pictures, of course. But I have seen someone do a concept on how it would look like in green and sinter black or sinter gray, and I must admit, it looks really good. So if they do it green, the front in green, I really hope they will keep the pictures on the side, because those pictures, man, I love them. It's a good reason to take the train, the scenery. Thank you so much for the super chat, Aardvark. Thank you so much for the super chat, Servant of Malane. And thank you to TTVBHEMO763 Oblivious, I think it is. Thank you so much for the super chat. Holy cow, thank you so much for the super chat, John Hanson. John, I work as a driver on the Bergen line, so that means that I'll just wait until the music is done. So that means that I usually drive either Voss to Bergen and back, of course, or Voss to Ål in Hallingdal, which is halfway to Oslo. And sometimes we cover for either Oslo or also then we drive from Ål to Oslo as well. So basically we do drive the whole line, and we also have the Flom line, which spurs off from Myrdal and down to Flom, and which is considered one of the most scenic train rides in the world. And yeah, that is also part of our network. So we do service there as well. So it's kind of a diverse thing, but still just 2 lines. Idham, you are wondering if I consider to become an airline pilot and if I do have private pilot license, and if not, why not? Time and money is basically the question or the answer to that. Taking the PPL these days is quite expensive, and given the current situation we don't know if we're going to be partially suspended or not due to the lack of passengers. So yeah, I don't think I should put money into that, because it actually costs a great deal to keep up with it as well. Because you have to have a certain amount of flying hours each year to keep your license, and you have to do the medical and everything. So that will not be something I prioritize right now, and I have to admit, I'm really glad I didn't become an airline pilot, because when you look at the market for that business right now, it's not good. It was not good after 9/11. It didn't look good after 2008 when the whole oil market just crashed, and then we had the pandemic now. So yeah, I think the pilots are having a really hard time getting things to fly, and yeah, so I'm kind of glad I chose to become a train driver instead, because we're kind of we need to run a minimum service, so we will probably just be partially suspended if it comes to that, but not laid off in the way pilots has been laid off. So yeah, kind of sad, really. Otildeman, if there are any lines I miss driving, yes, there is. I really miss driving to Lillehammer because I really love that trip, and I also miss driving to Dombås. Thank you so much for the super chat, Sakura. Harald Lorentzen. Yeah, I would actually like to try that, because that would be kind of cool, trying to drive something that relic. I know that to become a driver or engineer on a steam engine, that is like a really long education path. But being able to try hands-on someday, that would be really cool. Kirill, the cable car station was open last year, so yeah. Last year, that was the new one, but the old one, I'm not entirely sure when it was built, but I think it was in the 60s. Not completely sure, but the new one opened last year. Thomas Castor, my favorite part of the line is definitely the mountain pass. That's an epic part of the line. Thank you so much for the super chat, Frank. Danny boy, you asked how many times I have driven the train in Norway. Well, I've been doing this for over 10 years, so I have driven a lot of trains. Frank, yeah, I guess we're gonna see some kind of cut in our services as well next year if these restrictions in movement continues. And I guess that is probably going to be the new normal until everyone has been vaccinated. Apex Shaver, if we do run big huge plows on a train as you have seen in other parts of the world, no. But that said, every locomotive in Norway is usually equipped with a snow blade, and that blade it's basically and physically part of the train, and that takes away a lot of snow when we are driving, especially on the mountain. But we also have a snow readiness team that does work with a snowblower or rotary, as well as dedicated plow trains, which has those big plows mounted in front of them. And they usually go between passenger trains to make sure that the line over the mountain is clear before they send the passenger trains over. Thank you so much for super chat. No username 1337 or elite. Thank you so much for the super chat, Rickard. Jim B, the rumors are true, and that program might be airing on NGC in 2021. Hello, Jan. Rittik, why not the line Trondheim to Bodø? That is a completely different part of the country, and the distance from here to Trondheim, it's about 9 hours by car. And as a train driver, you are kind of stuck to the line you are based at. And after the Conservative government opted to really change absolutely the whole organization of the railway in Norway, and splitting up everything into franchises, there's also a different company running from Trondheim to Bodø, and that company is called SJ, which is the Swedish state rail company. Yeah, go figure. They are now running the 7 lines that are branching from Trondheim, and that also include the stretch from Trondheim to Bodø. So there is no chance of me ever running that unless I quit my job and relocate. Naomi Garza, yes, I was actually at Finse on the 24th around midnight. Or no, not around midnight, that would be wrong. I was running the express from this one actually, this video. I think it was. Now I'm kind of confused. 5 days ago. No, I was not at Finse around 24 or like midnight, but did you see a 4-legged creature with a tail? Zoom, XUM, you are wondering what slow order mean. Slow order is when the speed at a section of the line is temporarily reduced to, in this case, 40 kilometers per hour. And they usually use these temporary speed reductions when they have either changed sleepers or ties, you know, the wooden thing or concrete thing that binds the 2 rails together, or they have changed ballast, or they have done any other construction work that makes the trackbed kind of unstable. And then they basically reduce the speed for a period of time until the trackbed has settled, or they have been able to adjust everything so that trains can run at full speed. This is also done here in Norway. Ice usually generates on the overhead line in tunnel openings, also the water coming down from mountains and stuff like that. So there is a team from the infrastructure provider who do this visitation each morning during the winter, and they drive down and they remove the ice where it has generated. But we do see it a lot of times when we run the trains during really cold periods of time after it's been raining. We can see kind of icicles hanging down from the catenary, but they are not like massive and doesn't do really damage to pantograph. So yeah. Thankfully, I haven't seen anything massive yet. If I always drink Red Bull on my night shifts, no, I don't drink any Red Bull at all when I'm doing night shifts. Red Bull is not really good for you when you're working night shifts because it's full of sugar, and you should not consume sugar when you work night shifts because your metabolism is kind of low when you're working night shift, because you're supposed to sleep, so the body is kind of working slower and burning things slower. So what I consume when I work night shifts is usually water and sometimes coffee, but that gives me problems sleeping when I get back home early in the morning. So usually just water when I work night shifts. Thank you, Nicholas. You are so welcome, Stephen Kessler. Apex Shaver, have I ever hit anything? Animals, cars, etc. I had a really close call on a car once, and that was kind of scary. And it was someone who was stuck on a level crossing. It was, yeah, and that was a hairy situation. Coming there at the speed was 130 kilometers per hour, and you just saw the car on the level crossing out in the horizon, and it didn't move. And applying the emergency brakes and just flooring absolutely everything you have on brakes, and you can't do anything more. You just coast along, and it takes the time it takes to stop. And yeah, it was a really close call. The guy was able to get the car off the level crossing just as we was about to hit him. And yeah, I think I stopped like almost 500 meters away from the car. It was kind of insane. Takk for alt. Where in Norway was I born? I was born in Oslo. That's how generic that was. Sandra Oliveira. Yes. I'm sending a hello to a little girl in Turkey who is called Nas Elise. Hello, Nas Elise. Hey there, Penguin 3. Naomi Garza, if I honk the horn in the Finse tunnel on this shift, I guess you have to wait and see. The JG3870. You are wondering what's gonna happen with the old tunnel when the new tunnel is connected to the network between Arna and Bergen. And that is a really simple answer. No, it's not. What's gonna happen with the old tunnel? It's gonna be closed for 2 years. And during that time, they are going to do extensive upgrades to that tunnel. So it is up to all the safety standards which is required today, and that means that they're going to have emergency exits to the other tunnel, and they are going to put in some smoke fans and a lot of those safety systems, as well as installing rail lights and changing the ballast and track bed, and absolutely everything will be renewed. So when we drive into that tunnel after 2 years, it will be basically like running into a new tunnel. Though the speed will be the same as before, 130 kilometers per hour, and that is because of the profile of the tunnel. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jan. Torbjörn, is it still too loud? I'm going to try to reduce that some more. Thank you so much for super chat, Jimby, and also to you, Apex Shaver. And thank you so much again, Troy Boy. And thank you for becoming a member, Mihao. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Penguin. Torbjörn, I hope things are going to be better now. Kind of reduced the sound a lot. I am not sure why the volume of that jingle did not work. Okay, and that I do understand. Thank you so much for the super chat, Sandro Oliveira. Motorsport ADV, have I ever visited the United States of America? And I can say yes to that. I have visited America a lot of times. Basically been going there each year ever since 2011 or something. Been doing some road trips on a crisscross on the country, and lately the past 5 years I have been kind of more going to the land in Florida for skydiving because of a Norwegian skill camp that is arranged there in spring. So it's kind of a kickoff for the skydiving season here in Norway by going to States and start jumping early there. So when we get back to Norway, you're kind of up to speed as soon as the season starts. Apex Shaver, do you ever interact with a passenger during a trip? Yeah, yes and no. If we meet them on the platform before we start a trip, then we will of course interact with them, as well as when we have some announcements to give as kind of an interaction when we do that from the cab. But besides that, no, not during the trip like physical, because we are in the cab. Naomi Garza, that is so awesome. Thank you so much for the super chat, Charles Ashley. Ritik, you have heard that the future, that they're saying that the future of my work or being a train driver is going to be more and more automatic. I can tell you this, that is probably not going to happen within your lifetime. If you look at this line right here, trying to have that going automatic, like 100% driverless, that's not going to happen, like ever. The infrastructure needed to make that happen would be so expensive that you could actually have 10,000 drivers and the education and everything and have them paid around the clock for 100 years. That will be the amount of money that has to be invested to be able to make the Bergen line 100% automatic. This is quite interesting because the Danes in Denmark, they did a calculation on this, and they the result from that was that the cost of automating the whole network would just not be viable because the cost would be much greater than the benefit. So they are probably not going to do it. And then I'm guessing that if the Norwegian Rail Administration see the price tag on getting that happening here, nope, not gonna happen. So becoming a driver is safe. If they say that it's going to be happening soon, everything is going to be automatic really soon, or everything is going to be autonomous within 2-3 years, then you should add 50 years to that, because as we say, there's like a railway saying that when politicians or people who are in management says that something will be happening soon, that means 50 years from now. So yeah, not worried about being swapped out with a bunch of computers yet. Mansi, aren't you scared of skydiving? No. No, absolutely not. It's one of the best feelings in the world. Good night, no username lead. Charles Ashley, I really thank you for making everyone else's 2020 great, and I hope you're gonna spread that joy next year as well, and let's make 2021 really worth it, and hopefully we will get out of this sticky situation sooner than later. Midham, have I tried base jumping? Nope, not tried base jumping. Am I going to try base jumping? No, not at all. Not going to do it. F1 Addicted TV. How long have you been doing your job? I have been driving trains for over 10 years now. And your username into account, are you a Formula 1 fan? Scarecrow Art, what I like doing on my day off? Past 2 days I have been editing videos, but besides that I actually like skydiving and hiking and yeah, flying in the wind tunnel. So everything that's basically flying, you can say. So in my next life I think I'm gonna try being a bird. Thank you, Shannon, and right back at ya. Muncie, how did I learn skydiving? I signed up for a AFF course. I had never bungee jumped before, never ever tried a tandem jump before. So I just knew that this was something I really wanted to do, and it had been on my bucket list for since like I was 18 or something. And suddenly one day I had the time and resources to do it, and then I just went for it and kind of never looked back. It's really awesome. Philips Trains 22. The font for the station names. I am, to be honest, not quite sure which font that is, because that was not the font I had used, but for some strange reason when I was rendering this in Adobe Premiere or in Adobe Media Encoder, Media Encoder just decided, nope, not gonna load those fonts, so we are going to use some standard fonts. So it's not Times New Roman, that I know, because this actually happened to me earlier today as well, and I don't remember what the name was, but I will check it out for you, and then I will just post you a message. So if you can send me an email asking for that font name, I will give it to you. Thank you so much, MP. Ramper Kev, if we call up in advance, they can have coffee ready for us. But riding or driving this train has its perks, because we do have coffee machines on the train. And they do also serve coffee in the cafe car. So if we need coffee, we usually call the conductor, and they are really nice to bring us the coffee when we reach Myrdal. And that is typically a coffee stop if we ride out from Bergen. But on this trip, I had all needs covered until I reached all. Midham flying gliders, yeah, it is actually a huge glider community here at Voss, so that is also a possibility. Miker, I was actually going to do some vlogging from this year's camp, but as you know, things got kind of crazy this spring, so that didn't happen. But if we are able to do the camp next year, I really hope so. I will definitely make weekly vlogs from that. Hello, Mike R. Thank you so much for the super chat, Flavio. A conscious cat. Do I have to look forward all the time? Yes. We are always alert on our surroundings, so we do have some procedures we go through all the time. The typical things we're just not like staring in front like all this time without blinking. We do watch the speedometer, and we do watch the main reservoir, the air, and we watch the main brake pipe values, and we also watch the power meter, and we also take a peek into the mirrors at each side. So yeah, it's kind of like a circling thing we do all the time, just to make sure that everything is running smoothly and normal. So pretty much what a pilot would do. They also check a lot of instruments, and they have their routines, and we do the same thing. But of course, train-wise. Steve Blanco, this here is kind of weird, but there are no drivers who has tested positive for COVID, as far as I know. But haven't been, yeah, it's almost none of us who actually has been away. I think someone has been off work because they have been in contact with someone who was infected, but nothing like serious until they got their tests negative back and they went back to work. So yeah, we haven't been that sick or affected by the virus in that way, so it's kind of weird. And I think that's because we usually sit alone in the cab, and the companies, the railroad companies in the country, they really slam down really hard on contact between employers and employees. So we have been keeping our distance. We have not had any visitors into the driver's cab, and been like really strict on social distancing and everything, and washing our hands with hand sanitizers, using face masks, and absolutely everything within according to the guidance from the Health Institute. Dude, Verna, is it too low now? Penguin 3. My favorite segment of the Bergen line is the stretch from Mjølfjell and down to Ål. That is really one of my... That's my number one. The other part, which I find really beautiful, is the segment from Dale and to Vaksdal. That is also really beautiful segment on the Bergen line. And then after that comes the Flom line. The scenic view there is amazing, especially during the winter when everything is covered in white, and if you are so lucky that you have had the heavy snowfall during night and they haven't been out clearing the tracks yet, man, it's like flying on a white carpet. It's really beautiful. Thank you, Ian. Holy cow! Yeah, there are actually 1,000 viewers here now. Hey guys, thank you. Rivgosh, where are you from? And yes, you should come back someday. Mike R. This video was recorded in mid-November. Hello, Miss UK Sergeant. Tramper Cav. 2 questions. If I may, what is the meaning of the blue sign with the yellow letter FJS? And on the Sunland run, did you take 2 flirts in multiple? And why did you not schedule your break at all? The answers to those questions. FJS actually means fjernstyring, or in English, remote controlled. So if you see FJS begynner, then that means that a remote controlled line begins. That means that you have a centralized traffic control center that is remotely controlling the line. And if you see FJS slutter or with 3 lines over it, that means that it's a local traffic controller or station master who controls the signals at the stations or between 2 stations. Harald Lorentzen, yeah, I know that a pilot has to check a lot more things than a train driver, as far as you know, and they are usually 2 when they're flying bigger engines, so multi-engine planes, 2 pilots. MP, what is the challenging part of this job typical for a person or normal person, average person actually? The most challenging part, when I would say that when things does not go according to plan, that is basically what our training is for, because driving a train when everything works and there are no deviation, no nothing, and no events or delays or basically any other traffic on the line, driving train is fairly easy. But when you start having things happening, like changes to the schedule, changes to when you're supposed to meet other trains, and when the traffic controller calls you to ask you to kind of drive at the maximum to make meeting with another train smoother, and or if you have an incident, if someone gets sick on your train, or you have a fire outside or something like that, that's when our training really kicks in, and that will be the part where a lot of people, they would kind of freeze or freak out or get really stressed. But that are the situations where we have to like really stay calm and above it. So we do an oversight of everything. So I remember I had this one train when I was based in Oslo. I was basically sitting in 3 telephones at the same time, answering questions, trying to delegate, and it was complete madness. We had broken down and everyone wanted to know what was going on, and had to really wrap around to try and get replacement service. I tried to tell the support staff where we were, what was going on, as well as talking to the traffic controller to tell them the situation. So it was kind of crazy, but it worked out. Nothing happened and everyone was happy, and yeah, got replacement service. So yeah, that would basically be the thing that many people kind of freaks out on, and one of the things most people fails on the tests, before applying for the Railway Academy, which is a really huge deal with this job, because you are driving heavy things at high speeds and you have brake distances up to 1200 meters, so you need to be ahead of each situation. Daniel Newman, this was a strange question. Do you think extraterrestrials ever visited the Earth? Well, what can I say? I would say it will be really ignorant of us if we believe that we're the only ones out there when you have this huge universe. I would say that if we are the only ones in this huge universe, it would be a huge waste of space. I mean, it's so vast, it's so big, that the chances are that there are other life forms out there. Yeah, definitely. And if they have visited here, I'm not sure. There are more and more stories coming out, like from governmental levels, that says that something is going on. And they say that there's going to be kind of a huge announcement in the near future. I don't know. Guess we'll have to see. To be honest, I think it would be really cool. I mean, seriously, if we humans think that we are the superior life form in all of the universe, I mean, how more ignorant can you actually be? Steve, hi from Los Angeles. Do you only use the horn? Or do I only use horn at specific places? Yes. We have some signals that tells us when to use the horn, and we follow those signals. If we need to sound the horn for any reason outside of those signals, yeah, we can sound the horn. Do we see a friend who lives near? Might be a reason to sound the horn. Thank you, Richard. Vlad Dimitro, we are going to All in Hallingdal, which is halfway to Oslo. That's where we will have a crew change. Hey there, Colacune. Ray 746. No, not had any form of anxiety as an effect of driving trains. See you later, Trucker 747. Satisbas, I can tell you this, walking in these tunnels is really dangerous. You have to understand that the train pushes the air in front of it, and you will have a lot of drag and suction around the train when it passes you. So there is a huge chance that you might get sucked under the train due to the vortexes and the drag and movement of air. So standing in these tunnels when a train comes, not a good idea. Camper Kev, yeah, I heard that the guy who played Darth Vader actually passed away today. Not mistaken, he turned 85. And yeah, it's really sad. And we're going to Finse, where the scenes from the icy planet Hoth was filmed. So yeah, that was kind of special. Fëanor, if we do have a chatty job, because you always just hear the rails and the train and the horn, this job is not so very chatty. We do not have open radio communication. We use something that is called GSMR, which is basically a cell phone with some, it's a closed cell phone network with some special rail functions, hence the R. And that means that we have a point-to-point communication, so the dispatcher and traffic controller, they don't call you at the same time as they call all other trains. If they want someone in an area or all trains within an area to hear a message, they do a group broadcast. We also have some emergency functions on those systems, which will automatically call up all trains in an area and start a conference call that way. So it's point to point, and you don't hear any other chatter except when we get a message directly from the traffic controller. And that's kind of nice, because I remember when I was driving trams in Oslo, we had an open network, so you had to listen with one ear all the time if there was some messages coming to you. Holy cow. Thank you so much for the super chat, John. That is insane. Thank you. Ertik. Ja, det er faktisk ganske ålreit betalt. Men du jobber jo som sagt, hva skal jeg si? Du jobber jo mer eller mindre døgnet rundt. Og du har dager hvor du ikke kommer hjem til familien. Du har også sånn at det er ikke alltid du kan feire jul med familien. For at du er på jobb, og det samme gjelder nyttår, påsken. Du har ikke samme sommerferie på samme tidspunkt, og når alle andre fester i helgene, så er kanskje du på jobb. Vi jobber som sagt annenhver helg. Og det er jo det som driver lønna vår, det er jo den ubekvemme arbeidstiden. Mr. UK Sergeant, what I did drop when I got to Finse? I didn't drop anything. I hope. Lightsaber, maybe? I hope I didn't forget my lightsaber. Thank you so much for the super chat, Ronald. Folkmaster 3, yes. The carriages on our train are numbered 1 to 8 or 1 to whatever. and those cars are always in the same spot. So going to Oslo, car number 1 would be in the end of the train and the highest number in front of the train. And that means also that going the other way, then car number 1 would be the first car in the train. And the people traveling to Finse are usually people who are very accustomed to travel with trains, so they know exactly which car they are going to and where that car usually stops. See you later, Penguin 3. Oh, Miss UK Sergeant. Ah, yes, yes, yes. That is completely correct. How did you know? It was actually this magical container of mana. It fell to the floor. Elizabeth, didn't I just say that car number 1 would be in the end of the train when traveling to Oslo and the other way around traveling to Bergen, or did I mix that up? Because I really meant car number 1 is the last one in the train traveling to Oslo. Star Wars fan I am. Caleb? Yes, I actually like Star Wars. Constantly, how cold is it in Norway? That really depends on where you are. But right now, where I live, it's approximately 0 degrees outside. Not Fahrenheit though, Celsius. And so, yeah, around in this area, it's about between 0 and -1. It's around there. It's getting colder all over the country, so hopefully we will have larger amount of snow soon, because it's just gray outside, gray and dark. Thank you so much for the soup chat, Guhakomaru. Privet, comrade. Privet. A Russian liking someone else? I mean, thank you, thank you. Folkmaster 3, we do have a plus segment in the train, which has really good seats, and you get free coffee, access to newspapers and stuff like that. That is carriage number 1, so that's kind of first class. If you want to have the car with most space, that is usually car number 4, which is the car right after the A car. But then again, you will be subject to through traffic for everyone who are coming from car 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, but depends on what you like. I am a huge fan of car number 4. Don't know why, but car number 4, that's the car I usually choose. Thank you so much for the super chat, Revgosh. Kirsivolo, if it's safe to travel with train in Norway at night? Yes, it is. Our night trains in Norway also have a sleeper car where you can purchase a cabin. It is almost like a hotel room, like a really small hotel room, with two beds, so two bunk beds. So you can purchase the whole cabin if you want to, and it's really safe to travel on night train here in Norway. Thank you so much for the super chat, Troy boy. Rally, if it's hard to drive the train in snow, no. It's not hard to drive the train in snow. I think it sometimes can be hard for the train to drive in snow. But if it's a lot of snow, we can notice it. Things are starting to move kind of more slowly. You meet more force, of course. But nah, it's kind of a breeze. Thank you, Troy boy. In my penny, if we have onboard food service, yes, we do. We have a cafe car where you can buy some substantial and light meals if you want to. And nowadays they also have a trolley car that they push back and forth through with snacks and stuff like that on as well. Ertik, det du kan gjøre er også ta og sjekke opp opptakskravene på lokførerskolen.no, altså lokforerskolen.no. Og så går du inn og så ser på opptakskravene der. Kan ta og poste en link til deg. Skal vi se nå, bare hente opp opptakskravene. Sånn, der har jeg sendt deg link til opptakskravene, og der finner du all informasjonen du trenger for de formelle kravene som stilles for å kunne søke som lokomotivfører på lokførerskolen. Mr. UK Sergeant, how much is a cup of manna from the food car? I don't have the prices in my head, but I think it's 20 NOK or something, and you can get some pastry with that as well. Steve Blanco, yes, I actually have Christmas off this year, but Christmas is still cancelled for me because of the travel restrictions. So my family isn't able to come and celebrate Christmas. So yeah, it's gonna be a small event here this year. Caleb Train, I have not seen The Mandalorian because I do not subscribe to Disney Channel yet. Trumper Kev, yes, this is like flying the Millennium Falcon, and we are doing the Bergen line in just 17 parsecs. Leiko, I am going to stream Transport Fever 2 Christmas edition, so we're going to continue as soon as we kind of get into next month. When I start my new roster and stuff like that, I'm gonna have some longer periods of time off, since I'm not going to be working every weekend or every second weekend next year. So then I will have more time to actually play games. I haven't been playing Transport Fever 2 for a real long time now, even though I'm way ahead in the other kind of game I have been playing to kind of find out where the opportunities are. But yeah, I am going to do more of that. Monster Rally, I have seen a lot of deers and I have caught them on camera as well. So if you check out my independent videos on my channel, and you will be able to see deer. Howdy, Larry. Piatron 93, you did not hear that. You did not hear that. I haven't been playing Transport Fever 2 for a while. You hadn't heard that. You didn't hear that. Please don't hit me. Piatron 93, everyone. Piatron 93 is one of the people, amazing people, who designs engines or locomotives and do replicas in Transport Fever 2. And he has done a lot of Norwegian models and he's brilliant. He is really brilliant. Piatron, you are so brilliant that I think you should do the class 73, please, pretty please, with sugar on top, and class 69, class 72, and class 70. Can you please do all the Norwegian electric rolling stock, please? Kirill, if I know any other interesting stations like Hallingscheid. What do you mean by that? Do you mean like station that is encapsulated in steel, or kind of other interesting station that is, let's say, kind of urban exploration like? Rally, yes, we are still partially in kind of a lockdown, but I wouldn't say lockdown. We are restricted. We are restricted from larger gatherings. We are restricted to have more than 5 people visiting us at home, and they are encouraging to kind of have pods, like friend pods. NY Penny, do we have PTC or any system like that? Yes, we do. On this line, on this part we're running now, we have PTC. That means that we are surveilled on maximum speed at any time. So basically we can't do anything wrong. We have to abide by those rules set, and if we overspeed, the train will stop. As you can see in the video, as we are now passing the green lights you see here now and entering the station called Haugastøl, we are going through what is it called? We are going from one system to another. So we are going from PTC to partially PTC, if you want. So from FATC to DATC, which means that right now we are only surveilled on the maximum speed of this section of the line, which is 130 kilometers per hour. So on this part, it is actually possible to overspeed if you intentionally do it. But no one would do that. I mean, seriously. There's a black box on the train, and you always think safety first. It's safety first, safety first, safety first. It's better to come 5 minutes late than never, basically. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Leif Hansen. Kiddo, Hallingskjær is not in a tunnel. Hallingskjær is really outside, but it is encapsulated in a steel construction to keep the snow away from the station. Because Hallingskjær is a very weather heavy area, so during winter it's like massive amount of snow coming down, and because of the winds and the mountains and where the station is placed, that construction hadn't been there. The station would just be, you could basically use a TBM and drill two new holes or new snow caves through that drift that would have been left there. So that's why it's encapsulated in steel. But yes, there are in Oslo, we have stations that are underground, and there's also a ghost station there, which will come up in a future video. My car, the Norwegian winter usually is from like mid or the start of November, and it typically lasts till end of March. That is typical Norwegian winter, but it doesn't really get nowadays. It really doesn't get really cold before like sometimes it's like the end of November, and big freeze, as I call it, usually happens in January and lasts for like 2 months, and then it starts to turn warmer and we're going towards spring again. So it isn't really long, the true winter, but it can be really cold and a lot of snow. But sadly, a lot less now compared to before. Folkmaster. Red carpet for me at work? No, I don't think so. I'm just another train driver. David. Yes, I was plowing through a lot of snowdrifts in one of the videos, and did I feel it in the cab? Yes, you can really feel that in a cab when the snowdrifts are really compact and hard. And some of those drifts I passed through that day was enough to make the coupling start jumping, and you can really feel the banging of the coupling on top of the plow. And you can hear it, you can also feel it when if the snowdrift just covers the side of the track, you can really feel it when the engine hits it, because the whole chassis on locomotive kind of twists because of the forces. Yeah, so you can feel it sometimes. But that said, the way we drive, we try to drive in a way that we kind of compress the whole train, so making it more stiff. So when we do hit one of those drifts, it doesn't feel that hard for the passengers. So they maybe feel kind of a thud sometimes, but the way we do it, we try to hit it in a way that, of course, the passengers doesn't feel it. Thank you so much for the soup chat, Ralph. This video right now is like every other video I am posting. It is not like true live, and the reason for that is liability. It's simple as that. Because YouTube and the company and you as a viewer I think you would react pretty negatively if something happened, like trespass strike. That would not be good. And I think that all the lawyers in America would come down on us like really hard if that happened. Is the UK Sergeant? It's kind of mixed. Someone likes it, someone thinks it's really cool, and someone they are just like, no, you can't do that. Oh, it's really bad. Blah, blah, blah. But thankfully, most people think it's really okay. Gas lover, ever seen a steam train pass? Yes, they do drive museum trains, and sometimes we are lucky enough to meet them out on the line, and that is cool. That is really cool, meeting a steam train. That is really cool. Thank you so much for the soup chat, White Tiger. Tramper Kev, the time in the video, I think it's around 7, almost 7. You can see the time under the station name when we come into the station now, which is called Gustavose. Hello, CM Solutions AB. Thank you, Silent River. Ismanian, the training took approximately 1.5 years. Little Place 8, I sounded a horn because there was a signal there that told me to sound a horn, and the signal was for a level crossing. Even though you don't see the level crossing, it's actually there, and it's a level crossing for the cabin owners, so it's just a footpath over the tracks, and that's why I sound the horn. Caleb Trains 22. Well, what do you mean by similar to precision railroading? Thank you so much for the super chat, Ray Foley. Thank you for the super chat, Bernard Picky. Ray Foley, how many years did you run the trains for? Thank you so much for the super chat, Folkmaster 3. William Bode? Neither of them is scary. So you were asking what's scarier, skydiving or driving the train in a full whiteout? Mm, I would say that they are not scary at all. Uh, it's cool, actually. NY Penny, yeah, I saw the 4014, the big boy, and it's amazing, and it's fast. It's like really fast. Thank you so much for the super chat, Ray Foley. 40 years? Oh man, congrats. That was a really long service time. You've probably seen most of it out there. Which company did you run for? See you later, Fonsrali. Steve Blanco, thank you. Numan Karaslan, why would you freak out in darkness? Would you freak out driving your car in the darkness? William Bode, have I ever had to avoid a landslide? Yes, I have once been able to stop in front of a small, very important, a small landslide. And I have hit a landslide as well, which was not big either, but there were some damages to the plow. And I have also once been taken by an avalanche. Same Solutions AB. Have I ever been to Göteborg or Gothenburg? Yes, I have. I have been there twice, actually. But that was one time it was to see the city of Gothenburg, and that was really a long time ago. And the other time I was just passing through because I was going to Varberg. But Gothenburg is definitely a city I want to visit again in the future. Caleb Trains 22. No, we are definitely not into that. Our trains are longer now than they used to be. The local trains we used before the Class 69, those were 75 meters long. And the ones we are using now, the Flirts, the Stadler Flirt, they are 110 meters or 105.5, 6.5. So the trains are longer and we need more trains. We always need more trains and we need longer trains because we do have an increase in passengers. Let's see how that is after the pandemic. But yeah, and it will always be a shortage of space, and with the current management of how they have organized the railroad, I think we might go in kind of that direction by shutting down shunting areas and stuff like that and parking areas. The old ones, that is, in the cities, and they are just going to move them outside the cities like they have. But we'll see what happens. I just hope that they don't do things stupid for shall we say, short-term profit, because this is not short-term. When it comes to trains, railroad, they have to think generations. They can't think 4 years, can't think 10 years, they have to think generations. So when they do a project, it's not going to just be useful the next 4 years or 25, it's going to be useful the next 100. It's like telling these politicians, well, yeah, but it has to have earned in its value within 25 years. Yeah, but try to shut down the tunnel between Skøyen and Oslo Central Station and see if that's still not a high value. Low. So yeah, they just have to see investments in infrastructure like railway in a completely different light. Vlogmas? Naomi Garza? No, I don't think I'm gonna be doing Vlogmas. Maybe. That was actually an idea. Ramper Kev, can we get a train directly from Oslo to Stockholm? I think so, that you're still able to do it. SJ do have a train that runs Stockholm to Oslo. Not completely sure if it's really like super direct, but it doesn't stop in Norway, besides from a couple of stations, I think. But yeah, in Norway it's like boom, straight to Oslo. How it is on the Swedish side of the border, I'm not sure, but I think the traveling time is between Stockholm and Oslo is like 4 hours or something. Pulpmaster 3, I don't have to tell no to passengers. That is the conductor's job. But we have had situations where we've been so full that we had to say no to people who haven't ordered their ticket. So when the train is sold out, you're not able to buy tickets on it. So you have to kind of show up on the station to see if it's actually possible to go, and that will then be completely up to the judgment of the conductor if it is safe. This is about safety. Everything is about safety. So yeah, it has happened, and we have told people that no, you're not able to travel with us today. William Bode, yes. The track is much smoother here than other really high traffic countries in Europe. Sov godt, Lars Gunnar. Jen, I have to work on New Year's Eve. Sunflower Girl, if I see an animal that is on the track, by the time you see it, it's probably too late. You won't be able to stop in time. It really depends on the speed and how far off you can actually see it. The same with trees. That's one of the reasons they have cut down a trench on each side of the track, like 15 meters on each side. So, and that is to prevent that trees actually fall down on the track. See you later, Agent Katie. Microdish 60, if I ever get the chance to see the Northern Light. Yes, we do. But there's a huge but there. We are pretty far south in Norway, so if we are to see Northern Lights down here, we need to have a KP level of at least 5, which is the intensity an event or Northern Light event. It's a scale they measure that for. So we need at least a KP5 to see it as far south as this, and of course we need to have clear weather and all of that as well. So sometimes we do see it down here when there's a large event, but it hasn't been that much lately. And every time there has been a chance of seeing it, it has been, of course, overcast. And that kind of sucks. Jan Roderick, expanding the network to Alta and Hammerfest. What if and why not? I would say yes, they should. They really should do that, because it would be a huge investment in the future. It would remove a lot of trucks from the roads, and it would kind of knit our country more together in a more complete network. From a freight perspective, why they haven't done this yet is just beyond me. Really beyond. And this would be something they should have done a long time ago, but they don't want to because they say it will be too expensive. And that is because they just see it in the perspective of their own in government or their own existence in time. But if they look ahead, like a generation ahead, then that would still be there, still be useful, and still be beneficial for society, for climate, for absolutely everything. So I think they should do it. The cost is high today, but yes, it would be beneficial for the future. So why they haven't, it's just beyond me. Jonathan J, so you're that far south. Steve Blanco, yeah, it is kind of a downer, but I think if we're just gonna have kind of a Teams Christmas, so just put up a laptop with a family on the end of the table, and yeah, and everyone is kind of there. Melanie, if it's a difference between driving a passenger train and a freight train, yes, it is actually a huge difference. And the weight of the freight trains is much higher, and they are longer, and of course since the weight is higher, they are heavier and they go slower because of the weight. And it's a completely different way of driving trains. When it comes to passenger trains, you're like boom, straight up to speed, and like braking hard into stations, kind of chasing time all over the place, and yeah, stop all the time as well. But for freight trains, they coast, and they coast long. But yeah, their schedule is really different. They should have been kind of different to make them more beneficial for them, so they could get faster from A to B. But yeah, it's different. It's a different thing, a different way of driving. Unsee? No, they haven't converted to LEDs yet on locomotives. We're still using halogen and xenon. Or xenon. Xenon, actually. Master 3, I don't think they're gonna build a railway undersea on that. I don't think that was a rail and road tunnel on the coast of Norway. I think you are talking about that huge project for E39 or something. It's just gonna be a road tunnel. They have scrapped every plans of railroad. Lappy Lapland, if you want me to do that for all other videos, I would have to redo all other videos to have the speed as well. So that's not going to happen, but I will try to do it in the future on every video. That said, adding speed information to the video increases the time it takes to edit these videos with approximately 8 hours. Ismanian, are they going to build a new 700-kilometer long railroad in northern Quebec? That is awesome. That is really awesome. And Nerian, you are asking about the length and weight of a train on a Bergen line. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's 22.5 metric tons on each axle, which is the maximum. And the length, it actually depends on what station you are entering. And I think the longest one would be like 650 meters or something, which would be the maximum length of trains here. Kritikk. Japp, jeg er her. Sandy D, I do have several videos where I have shown the cab, so if you look under special, the playlist called special, you will see the cab of the flirt. But I will not be showing ever how you operate the train or start a train. Thank you, Sam Underwood. John Santiago, I have experienced mechanical failure in the middle of nowhere, and in that case you basically need help to continue, so then they will send a rescue train. If you break down in a way that you're unable to continue, they will send a rescue train. Jonathan, it is Jedi stuff. Never ever doubt the Force. Bish bosh bosh. If it's true that the Northern Lights looks more pretty on a photograph than in reality, I would say yes and no. There are things you can catch with a camera that your eyes are not able to catch when you're watching it. But seeing the Northern Lights and the colors you can see in them, it's insane. It also depends on what kind of an event and how powerful it is, but I have seen some real crazy stuff when it comes to Northern Light, and it's really beautiful. But yes, you can get an effect on camera that is a lot cooler, much more pretty than in reality, but experiencing Northern Light and seeing the majestic event, it's like, yeah, it's breathtaking. You will just be standing there and staring up into the sky and like, wow. Brother BKL Contreras, thank you. Thank you. And say hello to the Bronx for me. See you later, 73 Egg, and thank you for watching. Kritikk. Det sier seg selv hvorfor jeg ikke kan vise det på YouTube, og det er rett og slett fordi at vi vil ikke at noen uvedkommende skal komme og så begynne å sette i gang tog sånn helt uten videre for at de fant hvordan de skulle gjøre det på YouTube. Caleb? That is cool. I think I've seen some of the trains, those coal trains in Finland. I'm a member of this train drivers world group thingy on Facebook, and there are some Finnish people there who post pictures of their trains they're driving in. They are amazing. The length of those iron ore trains, it's insane. Sloth, there is noise in our train, but we have like really sound insulated driver's cab. Here in Norway, we probably have the most restrictive rules when it comes to noise in the driver's cab. So, and that is because of our hearing. We want to maintain it throughout our lives. So yeah, we are really strict on noise. And so it might sound like that the noise level here is a lot lower than on Russian trains, basically because of the restrictions we have here. Random thought, then I will probably be driving an AMG. Joel Benford, I don't think someone has been doing that, but they did it in a movie. It's a famous Norwegian movie, Olsenbanden. There they actually stole a train. That was kind of funny. Insa, thank you. I know, and thank you because you're one of those who made it possible. That this camera, I mean seriously guys, this camera, trying to film this with a GoPro would not happen. I wouldn't be able to film in this low light conditions, but with this camera I'm using right now, it's actually possible. And sometimes the things I see afterwards when I edit these movies is like, oh, I didn't see that with my with my eyes. So it's kind of cool. And with that, now we are at the place where I am stepping off and going to have a crew change. So thank you everyone for joining in tonight, and I truly loved your questions today. They were really cool and really different from earlier as well, and yeah, it's getting more and more interesting. So thank you, and stay safe out there, and make sure that you are healthy and wash those hands. Don't lick people in the face, it's disgusting, and especially if they're strangers, don't do that. And don't lick your granny in the face either, that's not good either, because not because of you, but because of her. She doesn't want to get sick. Wash your hands, wear a face mask, stay healthy, stay responsible, and try not to contaminate other people if you're sick. And with that, I will say thank you, and hopefully see you here again really soon. Thank you so much for the soup chat, Troy Boy, and same to you, Random Thought. See you later. Thank you. Bye. Psycho Sidekick, I'm really so sorry that you joined right now, but seriously, hi, and thank you for coming. Yeah, and enjoy this ASMR part where I walk on crunching snow. Talk to you guys later, bye.